I was the only one who visited Grandma in the nursing home. I made her meals, read her stories, did her laundry. At her funeral, my cousin gave a speech about how close they were. I bit my tongue. Then the lawyer read the will. My name wasn't even mentioned. He got her house. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Sometimes effort just isn't enough." I didn't cry. I just got in my car and drove to. I was the only one who visited Grandma in the nursing home. For 5 years. Every single Sunday. Rain or shine. It started when I was 28. I had just gone through a rough breakup, lost my job at the time, and Grandma was moved into that nursing home in Wichita Falls. Everyone else in the family said things like, "She won't remember much anyway," or "It's too hard to see her like that." But I went. Every week. No excuses. At first, she was still sharp. We'd sit on the porch and drink sweet tea. She'd talk about Grandpa, about the old farm, about her younger days working at the diner. When her memory started slipping, I adjusted. I brought photo albums, labeled every picture, and told her the same stories again and again. I made her banana bread, the kind she liked with too many walnuts. When she couldn't eat solid food, I blended it. When she stopped walking, I pushed her wheelchair through the garden trails. When she started forgetting who I was, I still came. I still smiled. And I never once saw Ryan. Ryan was Grandma's golden boy, or so they used to say. He was younger than me by a few years, and he always had charm. Smiled big. Wore nice clothes. Said the right things to the right people. But he never showed up. Not when Grandma broke her hip and had to have emergency surgery. Not when she had that infection that almost killed her. Nothing. I called him once. Told him she'd asked about him. He said he was busy with work. He worked remotely. From home. That was 3 years before she passed. The last time I saw her alive, she held my hand so tight it surprised me. Her skin was thin and bruised, but her grip was strong. She looked me right in the eyes and said, "You're the only one who stayed." I cried in the car afterward. A week later, she was gone. The funeral was quiet. Closed casket. Simple. Ryan showed up in a tailored suit. Gucci loafers. Hugged people like he was the grieving grandson who'd been there all along. Then he gave a speech. I almost walked out. He stood at the podium and said how deeply connected they were. How Grandma used to call him her little warrior. Said she inspired him to chase his dreams. I wanted to scream, but I bit my tongue. I stayed after everyone left. I picked up flower arrangements and threw away used tissues people left on the chairs. The lawyer called me later that night. Said the will would be read the next morning. Asked if I could be there. I figured I'd show up out of respect. I wasn't expecting anything big. I didn't need it. I had the memories. But I guess a part of me thought maybe she left me something. Even just a photo. A letter. Something that said she remembered. That she cared. The lawyer's office was small, in one of those older buildings on Kemp Boulevard. Smelled like paper and lemon cleaner. Ryan was already there when I walked in, sipping a latte like he was at brunch. He nodded at me like we were equals. I didn't say a word. 2 of our aunts were there too. One of them was Grandma's niece on her brother's side. Barely knew her. The lawyer, Weller, was an old man with glasses that kept sliding down his nose. He cleared his throat and started reading. Ryan's name came up first. To my beloved grandson, Ryan, who reminded me so much of my late husband, I stopped breathing. I leave the house at 214 Hudson Street, along with its contents and the sum of $50,000. My mouth went dry. I kept waiting. Waiting for my name. Waiting for something. He went through the rest quickly. A few $100s to a church. Some dishes to one of the aunts. An old record player to a neighbor. Then he closed the folder. That was it. My name? Not mentioned. Not one word. I looked around the room. No one else even reacted. Then Ryan turned to me. He gave me that smile. The same one he wore when he got away with cheating on his SATs back in high school. And he said, "Sometimes effort just isn't enough." I don't remember standing up. I don't remember walking out. All I remember is the sound of my car door slamming and my hands shaking on the wheel. And then I drove. Back to Wichita Falls. Back to the nursing home. Back to the place where I gave her everything. Back to the house that was supposed to mean something. Ryan thought he won. But he didn't know me. Not really. He thought it was over. It wasn't. I parked 2 blocks away from Grandma's house. His house now. It looked different. He'd trimmed the hedges and put up one of those modern metal address signs. He even had a security system sign in the yard, the kind you buy just to look official. It was late afternoon. I stayed in my car just watching. I don't know what I was waiting for. Maybe some kind of sign that what I was feeling wasn't crazy. But all I saw was Ryan walking out onto the porch, phone in hand, laughing. He looked happy. He looked like he deserved to be there. I gripped the steering wheel so tight I thought it might snap. He didn't visit her once. Not once. And yet he gets the house. The money. The speech. That house held all of her life. Her dishes. Her quilts. The photographs I'd helped her frame. The letters I'd read to her when she forgot who wrote them. All of that was inside. And Ryan didn't care about any of it. The next day, I visited the nursing home. The receptionist, Maria, recognized me right away. "I was wondering when you'd come back," she said. Her voice was kind but tired. "I just wanted to say goodbye properly," I said, without all the noise. She gave me a long hug. "You were good to her. The best." We all knew. I almost broke down right there. But then she said something else. Something that changed everything. "You ever see the box she left with the staff? Said it was for you. We still have it in the office." My stomach dropped. "What box?" I asked. "She gave it to us about a month before she passed. Told us not to mention it unless you came asking." She disappeared into the back. When she came back, she had a plain brown box, sealed with old masking tape. My name was written in her handwriting on top. I opened it right there, hands shaking. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. All addressed to me. Some were recent. Some dated years back. Some looked like they'd never even been mailed. I pulled one out. The envelope was wrinkled, and the ink was faded, but I knew that handwriting like the back of my hand. Inside, she wrote, "If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. And if I know my family, they probably didn't do right by you. But I want you to know something. There's more than one will. And not all of it was legal. I didn't trust the lawyers. I didn't trust Ryan. But I trusted you. That's why I left you what really matters. Find the red tin in the attic. Don't let anyone stop you." I just stared at the letter. My mind was racing. That tin. Attic. She was hiding something. That night, I parked near the house again. I waited until the lights were off. I didn't have a key, but I knew the back kitchen window never locked properly. I had helped fix it twice before she got too sick. I slipped in just past midnight. I moved fast. Quiet. The attic was at the top of the hall, past her old sewing room. I had to use the pull-down ladder, and it creaked like hell, but Ryan didn't stir. Probably passed out on his fancy mattress after a night of wine and bragging. I found the red tin under a pile of blankets. It was heavy. I didn't open it until I was back in my car. Inside were $15,000 in cash, a list of bank account numbers, copies of old documents, including the original will, and a handwritten note. "This was always yours." I made them change it after Ryan threatened to put me in that state-run facility. Said if I didn't cooperate, he'd leave me there and never come back. I was scared. "I'm sorry. I didn't know how to fix it, but maybe you can." I sat there for hours. Ryan had threatened her, manipulated her, probably used her confusion against her. That will he read at the lawyer's office wasn't the one she wanted. And I had proof now. I made copies of everything. Took the tin to a lawyer in Dallas that my friend recommended, someone who specialized in elder abuse and contested wills. He took one look at the letter and said, "We might have a case. A strong one." But I didn't want to just fight in court. I wanted Ryan to feel it. I wanted him to know he lost. So I made a plan. I wasn't done yet. Not even close. The lawyer in Dallas, Mitch Hayworth, was sharp. Mid-40s, ex-military, didn't waste words. He read through Grandma's letter, examined the documents, and leaned back in his chair. "This isn't just about the will," he said. "This could be elder coercion. Maybe even fraud." That word, fraud, hit me hard. Because deep down, I knew something never felt right about the way Ryan acted at the funeral. The fake crying. The speech. The way he smirked when my name wasn't mentioned. He wasn't shocked. He expected it. Mitch said we'd need to build a case slowly. Get statements. Records. Witnesses. And it wouldn't be cheap. "I don't need to win the money," I told him. "I just want him exposed." He nodded. "Then we start by digging into Ryan." I started calling around. Turns out, Ryan didn't just lie about visiting Grandma, he lied about a lot more. That new car he was driving? Leased and already overdue on payments. The software company he claimed to work for? Laid him off last year. But here's where it got weird. He'd somehow convinced Grandma, a woman on Social Security and a modest pension, to invest in a side project he said was a mobile app startup. There were transfers. Bank statements. $10,000 here, $5,000 there. She gave him over $40,000 in the 2 years before she died. All of it gone. The kicker? The app didn't exist. There was no company. No project. Just Ryan and a bunch of fake websites to make it look real. I took all of that to Mitch. He got serious fast. "We can use this," he said. "This isn't just moral. This is criminal." He manipulated an elderly woman suffering from dementia and used it to get money and rewrite her will. It all started to come together. Ryan must have leaned on her. Threatened to disappear. Promised her he'd take care of the house. Probably told her I would try to take everything if she didn't shut me out. And with her mind slipping, she gave in. I thought about going to the police, but Mitch advised waiting. "Once we file, he'll know he's being watched. Let's get everything first." So I did something I never thought I'd do. I played dirty. I called Ryan. Acted like I was calling to make peace. Said I was embarrassed about how I reacted after the will. Said I didn't want to fight anymore. He bought it. "I always knew you were smarter than you looked," he laughed. "Glad you're not holding grudges. People like you never win when it comes to this stuff anyway." That part stung. But I let it slide. I asked if I could stop by the house sometime to look through Grandma's old books, just for sentimental reasons. He hesitated, then said sure. "Come by Friday. I'll be working from home." I went. Brought donuts. Smiled. Pretended like we were two cousins reconnecting. He let me inside. Gave me a fake tour like he'd lived there his whole life. And that's when I saw it, on the desk in the corner of the living room. A file folder. Open. Pages sticking out. When he went to the kitchen to make coffee, I glanced at it. Bank papers. Checks. Photocopies of Grandma's ID. And then I saw it, a printed and signed draft of her will. Not the one read at the lawyer's. A different one. One that left everything to Ryan. No witnesses. Just a draft. Which meant one thing. He doctored the version the lawyer read. And I had seen it. I left that day with a smile and half a donut in a napkin. I drove straight to Mitch and told him everything. The trap was almost set. But I needed one more piece. Proof from someone inside the nursing home. Someone who saw Ryan there. Not once. Not twice. But often. Right before the will was changed. I went back to see Maria. "I need your help," I told her. "It's about Grandma. And what Ryan did." At first, she looked unsure. Nervous even. Then she told me something I didn't expect. "I always thought it was strange," she said. "He started showing up for about 2 months. Always came during night hours. Said he had special permission. He'd bring coffee to the staff. Say he just wanted to talk to her. We figured maybe he finally changed." "Did you ever hear what they talked about?" She nodded, slow. "One night I walked by and heard him say, 'Don't worry, Grandma. This will take care of everything. I'll make sure it's all handled.' Then he kissed her forehead and told her she didn't need to read anything. He'd do it all for her." My stomach turned. Maria agreed to give a written statement. We had him. But I wasn't done. I didn't just want to beat Ryan in court. I wanted to break that smug little speech he gave at the funeral. I wanted him to feel humiliated, the way he made Grandma feel when he threatened her. The way he made me feel sitting in that lawyer's office. So I made one more call. To a local reporter. Wichita Falls doesn't get a lot of drama, and this was big. Family betrayal.
Fraud.
Elder abuse. Hidden wills. It was the kind of thing they'd eat up. And I still had one last move. Because I knew something Ryan didn't. Something hidden behind the garage wall that even I had forgotten about. Grandma's old safe. Still sealed. Still full of who knows what. And I had the combination. The old safe was hidden behind a false panel in the garage. Grandma had shown it to me once, years ago, when I was helping her organize boxes after Grandpa passed. I remember her saying, "This is where the real stuff goes. Not the things you show people. The things you keep." I wasn't even sure it was still there. Ryan had probably been in every room of that house by now. But I also knew him. He never paid attention to anything that didn't make him money or make him look good. I waited until Friday night. I knew Ryan had plans. He posted them, fancy steakhouse, wine bar, then catching up with the guys. I watched him leave the driveway at 6:13 p.m. 15 minutes later, I slipped in through the back fence. I still had the spare key to the garage door. I'd hidden it under the brick planter outside, and shocker, he never found it. The garage was dark and musty, full of boxes labeled antiques and memories. He probably didn't open a single one. I went straight to the back wall, pulled the panel off with my bare hands. There it was, the safe. I spun the dial. April 18th, 37.
Click.
The door creaked open. Inside were a few small velvet bags, a brown envelope, and a cloth-wrapped bundle of documents tied with twine. The envelope had my name on it. If Ryan ever gets the house, don't let him near the safe. Everything in here is real. Everything else can be faked. I trust you to do the right thing. Love always, Grandma. I opened the bundle. It was the original will. Signed, notarized, dated 6 months after the one the lawyer had. It left everything, house, money, contents, to me. There was also a note from her doctor, confirming her mental state at the time. There were receipts for cash withdrawals with her signatures. Bank slips. Tax documents. Everything with timestamps. This will wasn't just legal. It was bulletproof. And Ryan had no idea it even existed. I gave it all to Mitch. He filed the lawsuit the next morning.
Fraud.
Elder coercion.
Forgery.
We served Ryan while he was at brunch with some new girl, sitting on a rooftop in Fort Worth. The process server dropped the papers in his lap between his eggs Benedict and third mimosa. He thought it was a joke until he read the words. When the local paper picked up the story, the headline read, "Grandson accused of forging will, stealing from grandmother with dementia." They used his high school yearbook photo. The one where he was smiling in a tux, like he was about to take over the world. The comment section tore him apart. People from town remembered Grandma. The woman who brought cookies to the fire station. Who sewed quilts for veterans. Suddenly, Ryan couldn't show his face anywhere. The court case moved fast. When Mitch presented the safe documents, the judge didn't even blink. Said it was one of the clearest examples of manipulation he'd seen in 20 years. Ryan tried to argue that Grandma changed her mind later. That she wanted him to have the house. That I was just the help. Then we brought in Maria. She told the court what she heard. Word for word. Ryan turned white. When the judge asked about the fake app company, Ryan said it wasn't relevant. Then Mitch dropped the bank statements. $42,000 gone. No product. No business license.
No explanation.
That's when Ryan's own lawyer leaned over and whispered something. Probably told him it was over.
It was.
The judge threw out the fake will. The house was returned to me. Ryan was ordered to pay back every cent he stole, plus $20,000 in damages. But here's the part one didn't see coming. The state pressed charges.
Elder exploitation. Forgery. Fraud.
Ryan was arrested a week later. They found more fake paperwork on his laptop. Emails where he bragged to his friends about getting the house for free. He pled guilty, took a plea deal, got 18 months in county jail and 5 years probation. And a record. He'll never work in finance again. After the court ruling, I walked into Grandma's house, my house now, for the first time in peace. I opened all the windows, let the light in, sat in her old recliner, smelled the air. It still felt like her. I cried, not because I won, but because she finally got her voice back. She wasn't forgotten. She was heard. As for me, I sold the house. Not out of anger, but because that chapter was done. I used the money to open a small community center. I named it after her. Ruth's Room. It's where people go when they need comfort, warm food, help filling out forms, someone to listen. The same way she listened to me. I still think about Ryan sometimes. Last I heard, he moved to Nevada, works nights at a warehouse.
He's quiet now.
No more speeches. Good. Some people only learn when the applause is gone. And as for me, I don't need applause. I just needed the truth. And I got it. Every piece of it.